What is going on, guys? Welcome to another YouTube video. In today's topic, I'm going to talk about how pornography affects the way you think about the opposite gender. And here's why I didn't say here's how pornography affects the way you look at women, right? Because oftentimes we have this assumption, which on the surface level, it's understandable actually, that pornography, the negative effects of it, especially when it comes to perception, is the way that men perceive women, right? And while that is true, obviously, recent research has confirmed that the same effect happens in women, right? Now, this is in a general sense that the same effects happen, not in all the exact details, but generally speaking, um, porn has the same negative effect on men as it does on women. And here is how, right? Um, okay, so first of all, humans are what? We are not just flesh and blood and bones, and that's it, right? We also have a mind. We are capable of thinking. We are capable of having desires, not just instinctual desires, but desires that are fundamental to us, right? Beyond just the eating, drinking, sleeping, reproducing, things like that, basic necessities. We also want people to talk to, right? Even though in our society today, like, it seems that or at least a lot of people, maybe they put on the facade that they don't need anyone, and all of a sudden everybody is Mr. or Mrs. Independent. That's just a facade, right? That's a coping mechanism. Nobody is completely independent 100%. In fact, even Jesus himself, in his human nature, was not completely independent. He needed to fellowship with others. And that's evident by the fact that he consistently and repeatedly asked Peter, James, and John to pray for him during his temptations, right? Um, the only difference, obviously, is that he didn't sin and they did, and all of us have. But anyways, um, so so in other words, we are people who have emotions, right? And take it a step further. We're not just people who have emotions. We have meaning to our lives, right? We seek a purpose. So we don't just look to feel good biologically and psychologically, but we also want to achieve our ultimate purpose in life, which is something that is only going to be something that is outside of yourself. It is never going to be something that is just within yourself, right? Not an objective purpose, obviously. So how does porn affect that? Well, it affects that because it reduces your ability to see the other person as a full human, right? So you kind of eliminate the fact that they were created in the image of God. And again, I really want to emphasize this. I'm talking to both men and women here. I'm not just talking to men. I'm talking to both genders, guys. So please keep that in mind. Um, so basically, you reduce in your mind, obviously, not in objective reality, your perception of them and your view of them as made in the image of God, right? Because it starts from that, right? And then it starts to devolve downward. Then you rob them of their own psychological worth. So you think that they don't deserve privacy, right? They do not deserve any sort of emotional comfort, right? Because their emotional comfort comes at the expense of your own emotional discomfort, right? And obviously, the easiest one to understand because it's so palpable is reducing them to pieces of meat, right? Here's the problem with that, guys. Even at a biological, anatomical level, right? Humans are not just one part, right? There's a reason why we have multiple body parts, right? We have the chest, we have the groin area, obviously, we have hands, we have feet, we have eyes, we have a nose, we have a mouth. This is just a demonstration of God's creativity, right? Um, and, obviously there's the internal organs like our, intestines, our lungs, our heart, our cardiovascular system, our brains, our bones, the, blood, plasma, DNA, and on and on and on. And so, even just at a biological and cellular level, we are extremely complex. But porn encourages you to only focus on the parts that, you know, help you to get off, for lack of a better term. And they distract you from looking at the person, right? You, during sexual intercourse, you are meant to make eye contact with the person that you are making love to, in the marriage context, obviously. So, and in pornography, that's not what happens, right? Oftentimes, the emphasis is put more on body parts. It is not put on emotional intimacy, it is put on displays, right? So, sex does not become a form of intimacy, it becomes a form of performance, right? And when you do that, you are more likely to reduce the person to an object. And obviously, it's not black or white. It's not like if you're somebody who watches porn frequently, or you're addicted to porn or anything like that, that automatically you're somebody who's perverted, or you're only going to see people as objects and that's it. But it does increase the likelihood, right? There is a causal relationship between how much porn you consume and how much you look at the opposite sex, and even people from the same sex, if you happen to be homosexual, as objects, right? You do not see them as fully human. Um, and so these are some of the negative effects of pornography. Um, Obviously, this video is not meant to be negative or discouraging, but it is meant to kind of show you in basic terms how porn affects your perception of other people. Maybe I'll do another video on how you can overcome these issues. Uh, but anyways, I hope this video is helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.